Everybody, welcome to Visual Communication and Media. My name is Adam Rozeski. Pleasure to see each and every one of you. I hope everybody's having a great week. Welcome to week 3 at the end of it, and figure I'd get in touch with y'all and give you some heads up on some of your assignment stuff this weekend, so that way it could help you out. So we talked a lot about semiotic signs and symbols. Now let's apply that information into logos and their importance and how they really matter. Now logos are much like symbols in a way. They're a visual representation, but not of just like the culture, but of the product, the company, and experience. They need to directly correlate to the experience, and they have to be simple and easy to understand. We have to consider font style and format because logos tend to be used in a lot of different cultures. So we have to keep in mind different cultures and how they see visuals and how they go about it. They also need to translate in size because it's got to work from something small like an Apple Watch all the way to something large like a massive billboard or some big screen. So they all got to play a part with everything. Now, there's different types of logos out there. There's 7 to be precise. There's an abstract logo, which uses complex shapes and different types of visuals in order to create an icon that's meant for that company specifically, like Pepsi's logo with the red, white, and blue sun that's kind of tied to it. Then we also have a mascot logo. Now, mascot logos are specific to the company itself because they use a mascot to promote their stuff, much like the Colonel from KFC. Now, we'll talk about combination marks in a minute, but this is where we have two or more types of marks or logos that are combined together to make that logo. Now, emblem logos are a little bit more traditional. They tend to have a little bit more embolism and also tied into very prestigious groups such as schools, government facilities, like really ornate clubs or anything that's tied to it. And we usually see them more in a very historic sense of a logo, much as a Harvard's logo where it has the reef with the scroll that says Harvard and the shield that has 3 books that say Veritas on it. And Veritas is a Latin term for truth, and they've always been the place to find truth ever since they've been made. I think Harvard's actually been around since the 1600s, if I remember correctly, or the early 1700s. Now, we also have the 3 basic letter and image marks that are at the bottom. We have the letter mark, which deals with taking the acronym of a big word or a big set of words and combining them into a letter mark, such as NASA, the National Administrative Space Association. Obviously, that deals with space travel and all the different areas with it. But when you say the whole thing together, that's kind of hard to put on a piece of paper. So when you take the first letter of each of the words and spell out NASA, that seems to be a lot more marketable in a lot of ways. Now, we also have a pictorial mark. This is an image of what that company stands for and what their name is. For example, Apple Computers with the black apple that has a bite out of it, that's a pictorial mark. And pictorial marks just have an image, no words, that specifically translate to the company's experience or their name a lot of times. Now, word marks are a little bit different than letter marks, where letter marks are just the acronym of what that group is or that organization. Word marks are the company name itself, no abbreviation, no nothing. It's just as what it is. This works great for smaller names, not bigger names. So if you have like 4 or 5 words into your company or your organization, might not be good to use a word mark because that's like 30 to 40 letters on the screen. You want to keep it simple, at least like 12 letters or less, and it would work fine. For example, Google. Google's a 6-letter word. You can easily use that. And they also change their logo based upon the month and everything, the letters and how they're shaped a lot of times. If you've ever noticed like when you go into Google, sometimes it changes based upon how a holiday it is or all the others. It's a very transformable logo, but the good news about it is it's just the word, and that's all it ties into, and that's what really helps with that. Now, the last mark which we skipped over, which was the combination mark, uses 2 or more types of visuals in the logos to make it something else. For example, Burger King logo uses an abstract mark to create the burger, which 2 yellow semicircles for the buns, and then the red words for meat in the middle of it. But then the meat itself is spelled out Burger King right there using a word mark. So we have a word mark and an abstract mark kind of tied together to create that amazing logo. And that's just some examples of how visuals are kind of used a lot of times. This week you're going to go into detail about really talking about those different logos and how they're utilized and how they look in a specific symbolism, color, and font, and how they all play a part with each other. So this is a good start
just a quick overview of how these things work, but make sure you back up your answers with examples and reasoning from other information sources, so that way you're not saying an opinion, you're kind of giving your facts with reason, and that's what really matters with that. Now, just keep in mind, we have our initial post due by the end of the night tonight, and then you have your initial post, your reply post, so your discussion should be fully complete tonight, and then you also have your live lecture assignment and your written assignment due tomorrow night. Other than that, that's all I got. So, hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy. Please let me know if you need anything. I'll be checking in here once in a while. Do keep in mind I have hockey late at night at 9 o'clock, so if I don't reach you out on Sunday night, that's the reason why. Other than that, be safe, have fun, enjoy. Hope everyone has a great week. Take it easy, and I'll see everybody for lecture on Monday. Take it easy. Bye-bye.